All right, in this video, we're going to look at unit conversions, and we'll be talking about first the basics and then the method of unit conversions. So first, for the basics, we're going to take a look at just an example of a conversion factor, and I've got here just a selection of conversion factors for some different lengths, volumes. These are all in the English system, and so we've got 4 cups equals 1 quart. A lot of these are going to be familiar, and then down here there are metric conversions. So these are the millis, so millimeter, milliliter, milligram, and then centa, kilo. There are several other metric prefixes, but for the purposes of this video we can ignore those. And then down here are 3 conversion factors that connect the English system to the metric system. So we know that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Okay, so just for the sake of this, to look at the basics of unit conversions, let's take that 4 cups equals 1 quart. Okay, so if we write down this unit conversion, we can see that the equal sign, so an equal sign in math just means that what's on the left is equal to what's on the right. Right, so these are the same quantities. So 4 cups is the same as 1 quart. Now, without the units, if we just covered up the units, this equation would look ridiculous. 4 equals 1. That's, elementary school student would laugh at that, right? No, 4 does not equal 1. With the units, though, we can equate these two quantities because the units tell us how much is there. So 4 cups is equal to 1 quart. Now in math, if you take and you divide both sides by the same thing, we can do this in algebra. We can divide both sides by 1 quart. And we get a conversion factor, which is 4 cups over 1 quart is equal to, and then what's on the right side of this equation? Well, over here, I've taken 1 quart and divided it by 1 quart. Well, anytime you take something and you divide it by itself, for example, if you divide 7 divided by 7, you get 1. If you divide 100 divided by 100, you get 1. If you divide 1 quart by 1 quart, you get 1. Sometimes we call this the cancellation of a unit, so this unit cancels. And what you're left with is the number 1. Now this is the brilliant part about these unit conversions, because when we talk about math, anytime we multiply anything by 1, we get the same thing. So just a couple of easy examples. If I take 12 and I multiply that by 1, I get 12. If I have a bigger number, 342 times 1, I get 342. So this applies to not just numbers, but other quantities. So if I have any quantity and I multiply it by 1, I get the same quantity. So this is the principle of unit conversion. The fact that we can multiply something by 1 and get the same thing. So because 4 cups divided by 1 quart is equal to 1, I can multiply something by this and it doesn't change that quantity. All right, we do change the number, but we don't change the quantity. All right, and so let's take a look at an example of this. But this is the basics of unit conversions. Okay, the basic mathematical understanding is that with a unit conversion, you are multiplying by 1. All right, so let's take a look at some unit conversions to look at the method of unit conversions. And let's do this with just a simple example. So we'll do this with the example, we want to convert 3.2 cups, 3.2 pounds, and we want to convert this to some number of grams. Okay, so this is the conversion that we want to carry out. And so we just look back at our conversion chart and we'll see down here that 453.6 grams is equal to 1 pound. So I'm going to write that over here to the right. 453.6 grams is equal to 1 pound. Okay. So when we want to set up this conversion problem, we're going to take 3.2 pounds and I'm going to draw a horizontal line here, and the horizontal line is a division line. So everything above the line belongs in this large numerator, everything below the line belongs in the denominator. And then I'm going to draw a horizontal line, a vertical line that separates different quantities or different numbers. And so I will multiply across the top and then divide that by everything in the bottom. Okay, so what this means is I'm going to take 3.2 pounds, I'm going to multiply it by whatever is here, and then I'm going to divide that by whatever's down here. Okay, so this is where we're going to put our conversion factor, is right here. If a little box is empty like this, we just ignore it. We could put a 1 in there if you want, but we will ignore empty quadrants or boxes. So over here, I want to put in my conversion factor. Okay, so first, let's fill in the units. So if you see, I have pounds in the numerator. That means over here, I want pounds in the denominator. So let me write down pound. Okay, and then what I want is grams. So that means I want grams in the numerator. Okay. And now we look over at our conversion factor and we fill in the numbers. So I know that 453.6 grams is equal to 1 pound. So this is going to give me my conversion factor. Now remember, this is everything right here. I'm just multiplying 3.2 pounds by 1, which doesn't look like 1. But remember, that's the principle here. So whenever I want to finish this conversion, I want to check and make sure that my units give me what I want. So here I've got pounds in the numerator, I have pounds in the denominator. Those two cancel, and I'm left with grams in the numerator, which is what I want. So check your units and make sure that you get the units that you want. And now we're ready to punch it into our calculator. So we take our calculator and we put in 3.2 times 453.6. And then if you want to, you can divide by 1, but we know that anything divided by 1 is just the same thing. So we can ignore that, hit enter, and then I have 1,451.52. Now the rules of significant figures tell me that I want to keep the fewest number. So I started off with 2 significant figures, 3.2, so I want to end with 2. So I'm going to round this to 1,500. So it would be 1,451.52 grams. And I'm going to round, so I only want to keep 2 non-zero numbers here. So I'm going to keep the 1 and I'll keep the 4, this place, and if I look, I need to round this up. So I'm going to round that one up to 1,500 grams. All right, and this is how you can do a unit conversion.